Hi sweet friend, welcome. My name is Volta. I'm the artist behind Color Snack, a watercolor illustration and animation studio. And in today's video, I'm going to do a little product review of these QoR watercolor paints. And the way that I'm going to do it is we're going to paint some watercolor carrot swatches. So it's a lot more fun than just some boring little swatches because you can have a nice little reference of these. You can put it up on the wall and it looks nice. And also gives you information about the different transition of the values that you can go from a very saturated to a very lighter value. All right, so let's get creative. So before we get started and get to play with all these wonderful colors, I wanted to just show you kind of the basic principle of these swatches. So your typical swatches, like I got my paint on the brush. This is a typical swatch. You start very saturated, then you kind of drag it downwards, clean off the brush, and then you continue, clean off the brush again, until you get to from saturated to a very desaturated, or like very lightest value possible of this color. But I want to do it, I mean, it already kind of resembles a carrot, but the way I'm going to be doing these, I'm going to start with kind of like a circular shape at the top, super saturated. Then I'm going to clean off the brush in my jar, and then I'm going to start extending the color. I'm going to clean off again, then I'm going to proceed, and then I'm going to clean off the brush once more until I get like a very lightest value of this color. And essentially I'm just, dragging it down, stopping, cleaning off the brush, and then doing it again. So now we have like a really nice transition of color from a very like saturated to a little bit lighter value here. You can always adjust it just a little bit if it's not even enough, and then if it's a little too dark at the bottom, you can lift it off just so that you can see that lightest value. But essentially that's the premise of all the carrots that I'll be painting, and I just wanted, I thought these looked a little bit nicer than just these random little squiggles of color and shapes, so that you can have a nice little result of all the carrots arranged in this beautiful color scheme. Alright, so I wanted to do a review of these QoR watercolors because I really like the quality, and I got a smaller set, so I wanted to get the set of 24 colors, and I will link to it in the description below. But basically it comes with this little pamphlet that talks about the watercolors. And the thing that attracted me to this particular brand is how vibrant the colors are. I absolutely love them, and you all really just, like, these will go such a long way. You only need a little bit to really experience the vibrancy of these colors. So this is the set, this is what it looks like. So this looks like this is a palette that you could use to squeeze out some paints here, some mixing area, larger circles. I don't know if I'll be using it in this way, but probably now that I want to try it out. So I'm going to start by doing a couple of swatches. And the way I like to do my swatches is by painting little carrots because they're so fun. And yeah, let me just show you what I mean by that. So I'm gonna just adjust these, and I'll basically do them in the order that I see them here on the palette. Alright, so I'll get started. I'm gonna start with, the first color is Cadmium Yellow Primrose, and I'm going to just squeeze a little bit of this. So whenever this happens, one way that you could get the paint back into the tube is if you squeeze just very lightly on the very bottom portion of the tube, and you'll see that it's starting to kind of go inwards a little bit. So I don't know exactly why that works, but it's basically, I've I've done that whenever my paint just seems to kind of want to overflow when I don't need as much of it. And I'm just gonna do, let's see, 6 at a time. So the second one is Nickel Azo Yellow. Just a little bit. And this one is gonna be Quinacridone Gold. Gonna do these in order as they are, and I'll write down the names of them later on the paper. Let's see, Diarylide Yellow. These are some interesting names. Pardon my pronunciation if I mispronounce it. Let's see. Then we have Transparent Pyro Orange. And again, same trick, just squeezing on the bottom, very, very bottom portion, and it goes right in. And then for the 6th one, we have Cadmium Red Medium. All right. And I'm using a Princeton Heritage Round number 8 to paint my carrots. I'm gonna start with the first color, just grabbing a little bit. And I'm just gonna start with a very saturated, super pigmented top of the carrot. I'm gonna clean off the brush. It's a little damp. Now I'm just going to start. And you see, this yellow is so vibrant. I have to add even more water to like get the very lightest value of it. So even now it's so vibrant. Right, got one carrot down. The next color is the Nickel Azo Yellow. Again, super saturated here at the top. Now I'm going to start adding little bits of water to extend it. So I'm basically cleaning off the brush, and then with just a little bit of water that's on it, I'm adding more to it and extending it, and that this way just lets me see the full kind of value change from a very saturated little carrot at the top to the very lightest tip here at the bottom. Can even lift off a little more to really see that lighter value. Let's see, the next color is the Quinacridone Gold. It's actually one of my favorite ones. It's just such a nice orangey color. So I'm just gonna paint this top portion, very saturated. I'm gonna clean off the brush. Now I'm going to extend it downwards. Clean off the brush again. Continue. And once more. Really nice value transition over here. All right, the next color is our Diarylide Yellow. Ooh, that's a really nice one as well. Very kind of like the sun of the color of the sun type of orange. Let's see, just adding a little bit of water, cleaning the brush, and then adding more water, cleaning again, and have a nice transition. And let's see, the other next color is going to be transparent Pyro orange. That's a very intense orange. Clean the brush, add some water, drag it down. So you see, I'm just lifting off a little bit of color just so that I can see like the very, very light version of this color, the lightest value of it. All right, the next color is going to be Cadmium Red Medium. Now we're really, really into our reds now. Super saturated at the top. Clean off the brush. Let it travel. There we go. All right, so we got the first set of our carrots. And just to complete the carrot look, I'm going to add the little carrot leaves at the top. Just a few little squiggly lines. And we'll proceed to the next set of 6. So now we have Permanent Scarlet over here. Permanent Alizarin Crimson. And then we have Quinacridone Magenta. This is my all-time, one of my all-time favorite colors. I guess if I say one of, it's not but I just really love it. It's like top of my color choices, just how it's such a nice magenta color. Dioxazine Purple is next. Want to make sure this goes in here. All right. Let's see, Ultramarine Blue is next. And then for the last one, and this set is Cerulean Blue Chromium. All right, so back to my brush. So this one is going to be the Permanent Scarlet. Really saturated here at the top. Clean off the brush. Drag it down. Drag it some more. It's a really nice red. I like this one. Permanent Scarlet. Okay, the next one is our Permanent Alizarin Crimson. Really saturated at the top. Clean it off. And repeat the process. See, then we have my favorite Quinacridone Magenta. Oh, I just love this color. It is so nice. Okay. Painting our carrots. Actually, this one looks like the value didn't change much, so I'm gonna lift off a little bit of the color just so that I can have that reference point and see how the color goes from the very lightest or darkest value to the lightest. And I'll do here the same. All right, the next one is our Dioxazine Purple. That's this one. Oh, that's a very nice and rich purple. Alright, and again, I'm just lifting off a little bit because it just seems to have traveled the whole length of my swatch, my carrot swatch. Alright, the next one is Ultramarine Blue. Another really beautiful, vibrant color. So you'll notice all of these are just super extra freaking vibrant, and I just love any paints that can do that. I literally am using the smallest amount, but it is so saturated in color that it's just such a joy to work with. And then the last one in the set is Cerulean Blue. There we go. So we're like halfway there. Just gonna add my little carrot leaves at the top. And it looks like, I don't know, my other set of carrots is gonna have to be a little smaller to fit all on this page, but we can do it. All right, so our next color is going to be Phthalo Blue. Phthalo Blue. And it's going to be Cobalt Teal. It's another gorgeous color I'm familiar with. Really love it. All right, get back in there. There we go. Then we have our Viridian Green. Alright, then we have Sap Green. That's another really nice green color. Just gonna squeeze back on here on this, trying to squeeze it in. So most of the times this will work, but you see, sometimes it may not. Guess I'll just have to deal with that. A little bit of extra paint. And let's see, the next one is Green Gold. As you can see, I'm just using very little amounts here, but I mean, they pack such a punch of colors that you don't need a lot. It really does go a long way. and this one is Raw Sienna. All right, so the first one was Phthalo Blue, and I think I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna continue it on, even though I'm a lefty and I'm gonna regret this, but for the sake of like the continuity of the rainbow, this will work a little better. So super saturated Phthalo Blue. And extending this with water. And lifting off just a little bit here. All right, the next we have is Cobalt Teal. And then we have Viridian Green. Oops, got the wrong one. Okay, this is the Viridian Green. A little more saturated here. Now I'm going to extend it. I might make this top adding just a little bit more color so I can see like what it looks like. It's too watered down on my palette. Okay, so now Sap Green is next. And then we have Green Gold and Raw Sienna. Another way that you could do this, these carrots, is so I'm painting a little circle, and I'm going to clean it off, and I'm going to start extending it, and then I dab it on the paper, on the towel, and then I continue, and then I do it again, and then you can basically see every time we're just lifting off a little bit of the color, but we're using the water to kind of show that the more water we add, or less pigment, basically removing the pigment, it shows you what the color will look like with a higher concentration of color or less. All right, so got all my colors in order. Then the next and final set of 6 is going to be Burnt Sienna. Raw Umber. Van Dyke Brown. Payne's Gray. I really love this gray. It's like a cool gray, not a warm gray. It's a really nice color. And then neutral tint. And then finally we have titanium white, which I rarely use white anymore. When I started out with watercolors, I used to use white quite a lot, but essentially, like, maybe you could use it for little highlights or accents, but I wouldn't recommend it if you're trying to get like an area that's lighter. You just add water to lighten it up. Alright, so burnt sienna is going to look something like this. Then we have a raw umber. So again, I'm kind of using my jar here again to, every time I clean off the brush a little bit more, it becomes lighter in value. And that's because we have more water and less pigment here. The next one is Van Dyke Brown. And then we have Payne's Gray. Oh, this is a very saturated, so I need to lift off a little bit of paint so that I can actually see different values of it. And then last one is a neutral tint, second to last one. I'm gonna add a little bit more pigment here. All right. And then I guess finally is the white. We'll see how that looks like. Honestly, probably will not show up. Yeah, it's very hard to see, but it's there. All right, so now I'm gonna do our little carrot leaves at the top. And I have my swatch of carrots, colorful, from this QoR set. I'm not gonna tilt it over because there's a little bit of paint here, but I really love this set. I'm really excited to use these extra colors that I got in it, and now instead of just like some random swatches, I have a nice reference of these carrots that, you know, you can add the names on next to each of the carrots to know what color it is, but just a nice little visual cue that you could actually hang up on the wall and enjoy looking at or using for reference. Alright, let me know in the comments what you think of these paints and if you've tried them, and thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.